Portage, Indiana at Calvary Cemetery. We're here to visit a murder victim. Back in 2000, she was stabbed to death by her boyfriend. Christine Arceo is her name. And this is a beautiful cemetery here, and there's many murder victims in the cemetery. But we're going to do today about Christine. So parental discretion is advised. So let's go pay our respects to Christine and look at some of these other amazing monuments and headstones they have here at Calvary Cemetery, Portage. Let's go. Nice little pond there, like that. I come here knowing only what section she was in. It was actually really easy to find. And right up here is Christine Arceo's final resting place. Daughter, sister, mother, granddaughter, Christine Arceo, January 21st, 1974, and that horrible day, February 9th, 2000, forever in our hearts. I did find some information on Christine out of the newspaper, Northwest Indiana Times, back in 2000. In a close-knit family of 4 sisters, 26-year-old Christine Arceo was a star. She started nursing classes at Indiana University Northwest while still at East Chicago Central High School. She read encyclopedias as a child, took her grandparents on their many errands, and had ambitions of obtaining a master's degree. A single mother of 2, worked as a registered nurse in the immediate care unit of St. Catherine Hospital in East Chicago, Indiana. She was in the process of obtaining her certification for the critical cardiac unit, her sister said Saturday. But just in the middle of Arceo's busy life, in the middle of all the family events, trips to the mall, and applying for graduate school, her life was cut short. She was a very kind and loving person, and she had a great deep love and commitment to her family, the eldest sister, Elizabeth, stated. Last Halloween, Arceo ran home from work, still dressed in her nurse's uniform, ready to take her 3 nieces, 2 cousins, 1 nephew, son, and daughter trick-or-treating. She lavished gifts on her youngest family members, especially remembering Beanie Babies for the girls, the sister said. Whenever she saw something that reminded her of them, she picked it up. Arceo was the one daughter who could read, write, and speak Spanish fluently. She also played piano and loved to sing. Her gift of nature extended to those outside her family as well. Arceo donated blood regularly and was a registered organ donor. We kind of feel she was cheated of a wish she had upon death. 26 years old. Definitely didn't have a reason to die. I mean, nobody does that's murdered, really. Unless you're, But she didn't get a chance at 26. That was a horrible murder. Christine, we're sorry this happened to you. God bless you. Rest in peace. So that's Christine Arceo. Now we're going to go over to the actual crime location, which is Lake of the Woods Apartments in Hobart, Indiana. Its name has been changed. It's now called Haven Hobart. It's a lake in the woods, definitely sounded better. But nevertheless, we're going to go over there and tell you the story. All right, here we are, Hobart, Indiana, in Lake of the Woods apartment complex. And it's been renamed since then. It's Haven Hobart. And we're going to tell you a story today about a murder victim back in 2000 that was stabbed to death over here in 100 Victory Drive, which is the building right here in front of me. Christine Arceo was her name. I know this apartment complex pretty well. Back in 04, me and my daughter lived here, but we heard nothing of this. We're going to tell you the whole story. Don't know, all the information about the person herself that was murdered. Just going to tell you the crime. And it's hard to ask a family member about something so personal. It's been 20 years, but as you all know, time don't really heal as much as you'd like. So we definitely ain't going to be contacting nobody. But we're going to pass on that and just tell you the story. We also have an exclusive interview with a Portage, Indiana dispatcher back in 2000. She actually took the call and spoke with the woman that was stabbed. And she said she was actually being stabbed while she was on the phone with her.
911, where's your emergency?
All right, so this is Carol, and she was a dispatcher back in 2000.
My name is Carol. I was a dispatcher from 1991 until 2007. I was working midnights, February 11th of 2000. About 11 p.m. I got a 911 call.
This case had a big impact on your life, hasn't it?
Yes. All I heard was screams.
And it was Christine that called 911?
It was a female's voice that we found out later was Christine. It was just a female voice screaming. I don't even remember her screaming for help. It was just screaming. I believe she was already being attacked.
Oh my God.
At that point, because she didn't even ask for help. And I heard a child crying. I did not hear a male. I sent every officer that we had at the time. When you get a call like that, you just tell the supervisor.
Yeah.
You have a possible serious domestic, and you give the location, and they all went. So everyone went. Everyone who was on the road, I believe, was 5 or 6 officers, and they went to the scene, and they started saying, you know, send the ambulance, call the coroner, do this, do that, and I did everything that they said at the time. It was a few minutes later, one of our officers, who was a really smart guy.
Who was it, Leo?
Dave Evans.
Dave Evans?
He waited outside because they never found the suspect. They found her body, and they found the little girl crying around and crawling around in her mom's, you know, body.
The baby was crawling through the blood?
Yep. And they...
What was she wearing, like a
she was wearing,
diaper?
She was wearing a onesie, yellow pajamas with white little plastic feet. And, I mean, I didn't know that at the time, because they brought her in later, but Dave Evans sat outside, and they were waiting to try to find the suspect, because they found her, and obviously she had been stabbed to death. And he sat out there and waited, and...
How did they actually see him?
No. Well, Dave Evans was smart. He sat outside. The guy ran down to the next level and hid in a laundry room entranceway.
Really?
And stayed there for how many ever minutes. I don't know how many minutes it was. And when he came out, Evans said, "Who are you?" and caught him, and he had blood on him. And Evans got him. And
they got him right there? And he didn't, because the story is that he ran to the apartments.
Oh, he tried to, but Evans got him.
In the actual building?
Yes.
Okay, so there was no foot pursuit?
No.
See, in the paper it said there was foot pursuit?
No, not. If it was not far.
Yeah. Well, the Hampshire Apartments, it's right next door.
Yeah, it was not far.
Yeah.
But he hid, I know, in the laundry room, and then Evans waited. All the other officers had scattered and were looking for a suspect. And one of our young guys, I believe it was Randy Stewart, picked up the little girl and brought her to the station and brought her into the radio room, because what are they going to do with her?
Yeah. So then they handed the baby to you?
They handed her to me.
And she was covered in blood?
She was covered in blood.
Oh my God.
And we knew it was bad. I mean, they told us to call the coroner and stuff, so within just minutes, Evan said he had him in custody. So I don't know how far he could have run from 100 Victor Drive to the other place.
Yeah, I did. Check it.
I listened to when they brought him in the side door in handcuffs.
You saw him?
Oh yeah.
Crap.
I was in the dispatch room when there was a sliding window was like dark, how they, I don't know what you call it. Yeah, tinted window. And I was holding the little girl, and I was praying, "Oh God, please don't let her cry or make a noise," because I didn't know if the guy would freak out.
Yeah.
He was handcuffed, and he walked by, and I listened to his interview, and he said he killed a bitch because he wasn't invited to the little girl's birthday. And then he said he had ridden the train from Chicago to Miller. He took a cab, and he broke in her apartment. He waited for her. He broke in, and he didn't even give her any opportunity. He just killed her. There was no call the ambulance to resuscitate.
Yeah.
It was...
Did you ever find out how many wounds she had?
I know.
Have you ever heard that?
I know it's on the report. It was multiple. It was over 20. And, you know, I listened to his interview. He totally confessed. That is what you call a cold-blooded killer. No realistic reason is someone just to go in and stab someone to death because they're not invited to a birthday party. And then the grandma came.
To the police station?
Yeah. It was probably about 30 minutes after.
Yeah, after the baby got there?
Yeah. One of the officers found a phone number and called, and she showed up at the counter. I was in a complete panic. I had called my husband on the phone and said, you know, I have this baby, and, you know, CPS doesn't come right away. People think they do, but they don't. And I was thinking, well, I can just call my husband and he can come and take her to my house because she'd be safe there. But then
The grandma came.
the grandma showed up, and I took this woman's ID. I took a photocopy of it while I was holding this little girl, and I handed her over, and this poor woman was just sobbing, and it was horrible. It was,
I can't even imagine how bad that could be.
you know, your child, your own kid is murdered for something so stupid. And then you have to pick up your grandbaby who's covered in blood.
Oh my God.
I hope to God he never gets out of jail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know it has hurt me all my life.
Yeah. That's a hard job.
Well,
Especially when they bring the baby and that's reality.
yeah, that was one of the worst ones. Even though I have worked probably 25 homicides.
Yeah. You still, was she white, black,
She was mixed.
mixed?
I kind of got the feeling that when they brought him in to do his interview, that he was pissed that he wasn't invited to her birthday because he was black
Oh my God.
and this girl was white.
No.
You know, all I remember was her pajamas were supposed to be yellow, and they were just red with her mom's blood.
That's the building right there behind me. Let me show you that. And this is the building right here, which was 100 Victory Drive. We're gonna find out which actual apartment it was through 5A, 5B, and I imagine that would be 5C. This is definitely the apartment. Right here is where Christine lived with her son, which was 8 years old, and her daughter, which was 1. So during that day, Christine left with the kids, and during that time, Gerald B. Washington, and he's also known as Gerard Washington, and I guess they were boyfriend, girlfriend, or ex, or whatever. They were involved. He came here and she wasn't here, and he broke into the apartment somehow. I don't know if he had a key or broke in or whatever, but he got inside the apartment. She wasn't there, so he's waiting on her. So Christine comes home. The 8-year-old's not with her, and must be with family or something, but she comes home with the baby, goes in there. I guess he comes out of the closet, approaches her, and they start talking, and after a while she wants him to leave, and he won't leave. So that's when he goes into the kitchen and gets a kitchen knife and begins stabbing Christine. She runs through the apartment, he chases her, continues stabbing her, kills her. All this while there's a baby there. So after killing Christine, he takes off. Police are called, they come there. He's gone, of course, but there is a foot pursuit, and they catch him over there across the street to the west a little bit at the Hampshire Apartments. So they take him in and charge him with murder, which only carries a 65-year sentence. That seems just ridiculous to me. I mean, he's going to get out sometime, and believe it or not, his release date is in 2026, which is insane to me, even though it's been 20 years. I mean, Christine's gone forever, but this son of a bitch is going to be out and be able to live the rest of his life. So he gets 65 years and sent to Michigan City State Prison, where he did receive some karma, and in 2004 he was stabbed multiple times in the prison, but he lived. Back in November, the police were called to 100 Victory Drive. Christina called about there was domestic battery. So when the police got there, he wasn't there. So the officer told her to seek a protection order against him or file charges, and Christine didn't either, unfortunately. You know, I think when it comes down to it, them protection orders and all that don't really make a difference. And you got some whack job, you don't care about that. Thank God the son wasn't there, which was 8 years old, because things could have even been different. You don't know what's going to happen, but he didn't harm the baby. Thank God. So they catch him, book him, everything. Time goes on, he ends up going to court. You know, this is death penalty material here. But he confesses and cops out or whatever, and they agree to 65 years. So he only gets 65 years in Michigan City State Prison. I hope his life is hell every day. Bad part is he's going to be out sometime, which ain't right. Should be an eye for an eye, right? So it's a horrible case, and I feel horribly sorry for Christine and her family. So there you have it. That's the case on Christine Arceo back in 2000. Christine seemed like a really nice person. Something like this should never happen. Shouldn't happen to anybody. And you know, even though she's not my family member, I mean, you feel horribly sorry for what happened. I mean, it's terrible for Christine and her family. So God bless you all, and with all due respect, this video is made in memory of Christine. I want to thank everybody for watching. Please like and subscribe, maybe leave a comment. Go crazy, maybe share this thing. I really appreciate it. Y'all be very safe out there.